Welcome, everybody, to episode 69. That's right, one before 70 of the Sports Blitz. Unbelievable. I'm Doug. We have Robbie here. Robbie, how you doing tonight?
Doing great, Doug. Doing great. Enjoying another Thursday night in this beautiful winter cold weather that we're having here in New England. And by the way, I two things. First of all, I'm glad that you can do math. I'm glad that you know that 69 plus 1 equals 70. And number two is while we have a moment, I do want to spend a final shout out to my buddy Matt Noonan for coming on our episode last week. Really appreciate having him on. Really was a lot of fun to talk to. And again, go check out his blog, noontime.sports.com. So thanks again, Matt. Really appreciate it. So no, doing well, like I said.
Yeah, absolutely. It was fun to have him on, and I know there just wasn't enough time to ask him too many questions because he had to jump off, but because he's a really busy guy.
Right.
But yes, absolutely. Thanks to him, and we'll have him on sometime.
Yeah.
Hopefully later on down the road. So we're gonna jump right in, Robbie.
Okay. Do it.
And we're gonna jump right into.
Oh wait, Doug. Before we jump right in, we have not done our signature under a rock.
Oh yes, of
Yeah.
course. Of
Yeah.
course, yes. Of course. I thought you were going to do that, but that's okay.
No, I can if you want me to. I know you like doing it, so
I do.
yeah,
So part of the Sports Blitz is always
running
about people
gags
watching.
that we have.
About people watching. So if you're under a rock or in a cave, please come on out and take a look, and then go right back because it's still not safe out here.
Getting a teeny bit safer, but not still
A little.
still
At
not
least
anywhere
not in
near.
this state. It's not, but that's okay.
Hey, the positive rate's going down. It's on its way down. I'm just saying.
Yeah, it certainly is.
Just saying.
Yeah. Whatever. I don't even know who's telling me the truth, but that's okay. That's something for another time. Anyway, we're going to jump right into the NFL playoffs. What was our record last week, Robbie, for picks?
3-1, and honestly, I was not that unhappy with the one.
Right, exactly. No, absolutely, we weren't unhappy with that, but it was good. I thought the games were really good.
Very exciting.
Yep. So we are down to 4. We're down to 4. Final four.
Final 4. There you go.
Final 4. So we have 2 in the East, and we have 2 in the.
You mean 2 in the AFC, 2 in the NFC?
Yeah, AFC and 2 in the NFC. Yes, I meant East as in East. You know, we get East, and then we get. I always think of them as the West, but they're really not the West. It is AFC and NFC. Thank you very much. We also have something we also do in the Sports Blitz, and it's called the chat. If you hear strange words coming out of our mouths and we kind of repeat them, or you hear strange things coming out, then you will figure out that we are actually chatting with each other and we're saying different words. And Robbie just wrote AFC versus NFC. Thank you very much for that.
No problem.
I'll be writing you later, or whatever. But so we have the Chiefs versus the Bills, and the Packers versus the Bucks.
Ooh.
So wanted to get your opinion, Robbie, of let's do the Chiefs and the Bills versus the Bills first. What your thoughts are on that game, and maybe your prediction.
Yeah, it's interesting because obviously the Chiefs, both the AFC games last weekend, as we were saying, were pretty close, but the Chiefs had a little bit of a scare put into them by the good old Cleveland Browns. That game came right down to the wire there. But it's going to be interesting because for those of you who missed it, during the Chiefs Browns game on Sunday, Patrick Mahomes, Chiefs quarterback, went out with a concussion. And so he was replaced by Chad Henne, who was, down to the wire, exactly. And so Chad Henne was able to, ultimately lead the Chiefs to a victory over the Browns. And right now, Patrick Mahomes is in the who is right, who's on first. But yeah,
What's on
Patrick
second?
Mahomes currently. I don't know. He's on third. Um,
No,
Patrick.
he's in the outfield.
Okay. Um, Patrick Mahomes currently in the concussion protocol, sort of working his way back through the protocol this week. He is back at practice, but still, I don't think there's really been any official word as to whether or not he is going to play this Sunday. So I think that's going to be just a big factor as to sort of what Sunday's game is going to look like if Mahomes is able to play versus if he's not able to play. Hey, listen, Chad Henne did a respectable job, coming in place of Mahomes in the victory over the Browns. But, obviously Patrick Mahomes is a very unique quarterback in that he can really beat you multiple ways. And obviously, he and the Chiefs offense have been a force to be reckoned with all season long. So, like I said, I think that is going to play a huge role. If you're asking me for a pick, I'm still either way going to slightly lean towards the Chiefs. I just think overall, skill wise, they are more talented than the Bills are. I mean, Josh Allen, hey, don't get me wrong, he's had a great season. That Bills defense is tough to be reckoned with there. But I just think at the end of the day, the Chiefs just have a little bit more than the Bills do. And I think they're going to go back to the Super Bowl for a second straight year. But again, a lot of that is going to have to do with end of the day. Yes, exactly. A lot of that's going to have to do with whether or not Patrick Mahomes plays. If he does not suit up, it's definitely going to be a factor uh, in Buffalo's favor heading into that game. So we'll have to see. But yeah, I like the Chiefs either way. But still a lot of questions heading into that one, Doug.
Oh yeah, definitely. I heard he was practicing. I heard he
Yeah,
was throwing the ball.
yeah,
It wasn't practicing, but I heard he was throwing.
practice.
Yeah, no, he wasn't doing that. Um, but I hear he's still in protocol. So it depends on. It really depends on practice, right? It really depends on. I think you're right. I think if Patrick Mahomes plays and he's okay, I think that the so when Henny made that play, I mean it was a great play. The issue I had is that he led with his head.
Right,
He didn't slide. He
right.
he led with his head, which got me, which was like everybody was going, oh my god, what is he doing? Because you don't want him hurt. So
No,
it's one of those things where I just think that if Patrick Mahomes is not playing, I think I'm gonna give the edge to the Bills.
no, I
Bills will win that game,
that
and I
that
I
that's
seriously
very
think that
fair.
that's what it
That's
is.
very fair. And before we sort of jump off the AFC entirely, I did want to ask you really quickly your thoughts about this. If we can kind of touch on this during that Chiefs Browns game, there was a bit of a controversy, sort of in that game with a play where the Browns fumbled out of the end zone for a touchback, which wasn't
Yep.
the incorrect call. That wasn't necessarily the controversial part. The problem is that the officials missed a helmet to helmet uh, penalty call there on that play, which definitely left Browns fans up in arms about what could have been. But I just sort of was curious, since we were on the topic of the Chiefs and that last weekend's game, what your thoughts were on that.
Yeah, I actually have two thoughts on. I think both of them are very controversial. I think the first play is the rule. They need to change that rule. They need to change the rule about the ball going into the end zone and out of the end zone, and then the other team gets the ball. I don't think that's right. I don't think that's a right call. I don't think that's a right rule. That's for a later discussion about rules, but I personally don't. And if you watch, Boomer and all the other guys that were on after, during after the whole game was over, they think the rule's stupid too. So, I besides that, going back to the the helmet on helmet, that was an absolute helmet on helmet hit and a
Yeah.
dangerous hit.
And he led with it too. He led
Yes,
with
he
the
led with
helmet. He
his.
led with the
Yes, he
helmet.
did, and it should have been called. And I don't know why it wasn't called because this is what they're trying to get out of the game
Right.
is the helmet to helmet hits. So I don't understand why it was like that.
Yeah. No,
So
I agree. I
I
agree with
just think it
you.
was very controversial, and I
Yeah.
think I just
And it was. I mean that play. You never like to say that one play makes the game, but that play made a pretty big difference because the
yeah
Browns, were kind of going in to score there if that fumble hadn't occurred, and that would have put the ball, inside the 10-yard line at least for the Browns have a chance to
right
get some points there where, obviously with the rule being invoked there, they didn't get any points. So
right
definitely played a big factor in the game. I agree with you. I think it was a missed call. It's disappointing. I mean, obviously, you got to move on from it, but at the same time, to have the refs miss it and at that juncture of a playoff game is very disappointing, to say the least. So
especially they're focused on it.
right,
They're super focused on
right,
making sure that players are safe, and that's what their directive is.
and
Is the refs are supposed to make sure things are safe.
usually they sometimes too much sort of err on the side of safety when calling those hits. Or if it's like anything remotely close, they tend to err on the
Yes.
side of calling a penalty.
Yep.
And so that that sort of played into the fact that they did not call anything there makes it look even worse for them.
Correct. Oh, they definitely dropped the ball on that. No pun intended, but they could definitely drop the ball. They fumbled the ball on that call. That was just horrible. And I think everybody knew, even the Chiefs fans were going,
Yeah,
a huge
right,
break right there.
right.
So it totally makes sense. But moving on to, we'll go to the NFC.
Yeah,
The NFC has the
very
Packers.
interesting matchup. Very
Yes,
interesting
finally,
matchup.
finally, finally, the matchup between, and we've been waiting for this for a long time. It's not going to be a Super Bowl, but maybe it'll be a Super Bowl kind of feel. But it's the Packers and the Bucks.
Yeah.
Packers and the Bucks. So, what are your thoughts initially on the Packers and the Bucks?
I'm very excited about that quarterback matchup. Aaron Rodgers versus Tom Brady. Anytime those
Huge.
two get together, it is a fun one to watch, and especially on this biggest stage. I mean, aside from maybe a Super Bowl matchup, I mean, this is about as big as you can go between the two of them. And they've had some great matchups in the past, the few times that they met back when Brady was here in New England. Um, I think this is tough because it's sort of one of those situations where do I go with my head or do I go with my heart on this one? Because obviously, I've been rooting for Brady throughout this entire playoff run, even though I'll be honest, I picked New Orleans to win last weekend, which is why I said I wasn't all that disappointed to lose that particular pick. Um, this is tough. I think I'm gonna lean with the Packers here. Maybe I'll be sort of another blessing to the Bucks here by picking against them. Maybe that's the way to go. I don't know, but I'm gonna slightly lean towards the Packers here. But listen, I mean, there's no question in my mind that Brady can go into Lambeau and beat the Packers. I think it's gonna be an exciting game, like you were saying, Doug, down to the wire. Both teams have great offenses. I do think that the difference in this game may be the defense, and I think the Packers are slightly have a bit of an edge there in the defensive category, which is the only reason why I give the slight edge here to the Packers. But I think it's going to be a great game, and I'm just very, very excited for it. So yeah, I like the Packers, but again, I've been sort of going back and forth on this game here for since last Sunday, pretty much. So I think I'll say this: I will not be disappointed if I'm wrong again on this particular pick.
Yeah, I figured that's where you were going with that. I figured. I don't know, man. I kind of feel the same thing as you do. It's just going with your heart or your head on this. I have I guess I have a hard time, at least right now. I was waiting for this past game. I was waiting to see what Brady was going to do in this last game. I picked the Saints because I thought the Saints had a little bit of a better offense, a little bit more consistent, a little bit better defense. I was going with this game. I was going with this game because I wanted to see whether Brady could pull this off. And over and over and over again, and we know this personally, the last 20 years, Brady is a playoff quarterback. That's what he is.
Oh yeah.
And it's proven. So even if I say it, there is nobody out there, I don't care who you are, nobody out there that's going to say anything different to that effect.
Absolutely.
So I am going to go with Brady and the Bucks in this game.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to do. Because that's right. I believe that he's always going to be hard to beat. He's got something to prove.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers got something to prove too. And I think Aaron Rodgers has a great opportunity right here to be able to win this game and move on and do what he needs to do. I just think when you have Brady on the other side, you just have that small little 20-year edge as opposed to Aaron Rodgers, who's a good quarterback, who's got a great team. I just can't bet against Brady. I've been totally against this all throughout the whole year. I've been winning for him because it's Tom Brady who's with us for 20 years, so I get it.
Right.
But last week was the game. Last week was the game that I was going to say, all right, here it is. This is the one. If he wins this game, I'm not betting against him anymore because he's so consistent with what he's done in the playoffs the last 20 years that it's really hard to get bet against him. Look at the facts, look at the stats, look at the games. Can't do it. It's hard to.
Hey, my heart is right there with you. My heart is right there with you. I mean, I think, and that's why I say I won't be disappointed if I'm wrong with the pick. I just, I decided to go with my head there, but my heart is right there with you. Listen, I think my heart is hoping I'm wrong. My heart is hoping I'm wrong. I think, maybe I just didn't have enough guts about me to actually go out there and make the pick like you did. Like, hey, which good for you, more power to you. But yeah, I think there's a lot of me that hopes you're right. I think it's gonna be just a really, really good down the wire classic NFC Championship game. I think it's gonna be really fun to watch, regardless of who wins. It's gonna be really fun to watch.
Oh, definitely. These are not even rivals. I mean, these guys, don't play against each other often, and we were always hoping that in the last 20 years that Brady would somehow play Aaron Rodgers in the Super Bowl. That's what we were hoping.
Right.
We were hoping for that matchup, and now we can't even get into the Super Bowl because they're the same conference.
But we get a conference championship game.
That's right. We get a conference championship game. So that's a little under what we want, but that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. But I just can't. I guess I'm using more logic than heart. Right? Using logic and looking at what he's done in the last 20 years and saying Brady's really, really tough and proven statistically and in the games. If you look at just the eyeball test of the games, you just can't. It's hard to bet against them. How can you bet against them? It's hard to.
I agree.
It's really, really hard to.
I know.
The only thing I could say that is, obviously, if he gets hurt, God forbid, if he gets hurt, I mean, don't want him to get hurt. Want him to be in the game, the whole game,
right?
Or one of his big receivers gets hurt. I think that may change. And if Aaron Rodgers gets hurt, that changes the whole system too.
Right.
So if anybody in these big games gets hurt, then it obviously changes it. But I just can't bet against them. Just can't bet against them. Last week was the game.
That's very fair.
I was looking at.
Again, like I said before, what you're saying is very fair, and like I said, I think there's a big part of me that hopes you're right.
Right, exactly.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, definitely. So we're just going to move on. I just have one question because about the Patriots
quarterback.
Again, I only
quarterback.
have one.
Quarterback.
I think I'm going to ask you about that.
Well, I'm looking down at our little outline here, and I've already been formulating the answer in my mind since you said it to me. That is quarterback.
So
and receivers.
So what do you think the Patriots need?
Quarterback. And wide
gotcha.
Receivers. Quarterback and wide receivers. Right. Yeah, there we go. Next question.
Actually, the reason exactly the reason I put that on there was because I it's pretty obvious what their needs are. So what's good is that they have a lot of money to work with. The issue I have is who's going to come back. So who are they going to pay to come back, having that good team and be able to pay wide receivers and pick up a quarterback, whether it's a bridge quarterback before they get somebody or the draft. Robbie, I'm not even ready to talk about
that. Nope. That's why I was very short, done. Concise to the point with my
That's correct. That's correct. So we're going to move on. We are moving right to the next. We're going to move right to the next segment really quickly. And we're going to talk about the Boston Celtics.
Woo!
And the Boston Celtics. Yep. We're going to talk about them. I know it's been difficult because one of our questions that we had last week is how is the NBA dealing with COVID? And it's been really tough. And I never thought that I'd say this, but the Celtics still have a couple of guys out, including Jason Tatum, who is not hurt, but because of the protocols, health and safety, he is still out. And Robert Williams is still attached to that also. And it's
I think Robert Williams is at least back in practice though.
He might be, but
I think so.
He was out in the last game.
Oh no! I know. I'm just saying. I think he is at least been back.
Yeah, well, Tatum's supposed to come back any day now too. I think by the weekend. But
I know he's missing tomorrow, but I think
it's been a little difficult because this is happening. There's new protocols now. If you look at the last game,
by the way, at least we're not the Washington Wizards where we've had 6 games in a row postponed here. I mean,
it's very tough. But there's new protocols. One of the protocols I think is very funny. I don't think it's funny. I think it's necessary, but I think it's interesting.
I don't think about this is funny.
Is when they come back when they go to the court, when they first go on the court to get the jump ball, they're not supposed to hug or high five or even fist pump. So all they're doing is like they're pointing at each other.
Which makes sense. I mean, you gotta.
How you doing?
You gotta.
What up, Robbie?
More. Hey, what's up, Doug? How you doing, man?
What's up?
Yeah.
What's up?
But
have a good game.
That makes sense. It makes perfect sense. I mean,
of course it does. I just thought it was really funny because they don't even walk around. They typically walk around and go, "Hey, what's up? Yeah, have a good game." Blah blah blah. What up? They typically do that, but they don't even. They just go to where they're going to stand, and they just go.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Anyway, Robbie.
Yeah.
First month, first few weeks. What are we talking? What are you seeing? What are you looking at? What are you?
This is so hard because they've had so many they've had so much adversity they've had to overcome that it's so hard to give them an accurate grade for the first month because they had Kemba out to start off with, and now they've had the stuff with Tatum and Brown with COVID and missing all these games. It's very hard right now, unlike any other season, to to give them even a first month grade, just because there's been so many variables thrown in there that, could have, if they'd gone a different way, could have, they could be in a much different place right now than they are. I mean, they're still
Right.
right now sort of within the top 3 and 4 of the conference, after was it 12 games or so.
Yeah.
Although they have lost 2 in a row, including a brutal game
Oh,
against the Knicks last Sunday, which we won't talk about any further. Um, but I think that if I had to give them a grade, I think I'm gonna give them. I think I'm gonna give them a B. I'm gonna give them a B because I mean I think overall they've been playing pretty well. Especially when they've been at full strength. Definitely some of their issues have been, in terms of rebounding and stuff like that, have been prevalent. In these first couple of in this first month here. But at the same time, I like where they're at. Yeah, full strength, exactly. Um, I like where they're at. I just think that they just if they can get back to full strength, that's going to mean that they're going to be at a much better place. And obviously it's still early. It's still only the first third of the season. But I think overall it's been a pleasant start, but I think that there's a lot of room for improvement, and just hopefully they can continue to sort of get back to full strength. I know I'm using full strength a lot tonight, and really get to the top of the Eastern Conference. Like on paper, we know that they should be if everything is if everything falls into place for them. So that's kind of where I am at with the Celtics. Like I said, it's exactly full strength again. Like I said, it's been very tough to really gauge this team because of just everything that's happened over this first month. But like I said, I give him a solid B. That's my honest assessment right there.
yeah, that sounds good. I guess what I try to do is just grade them on the games I've seen, grade them on the games that they've had, and try to see kind of where they're at. Um, I think the game against the 76ers was a really important game. And the reason it was an important game was because they showed off what their weaknesses are,
Yeah, true.
which is very interesting. Embiid went for 42 points. They could not stop this guy down low.
No.
And I think that's going to be a consistent problem. And I think, when you're looking down the road, do I think they're playing fairly well? Yeah, I really do. I think, they're in pretty much every game. I
Minus the
think
next
what they
game.
need to do is I think they need to hold the lead. That's the problem. I get these notifications if I'm not watching the game per se, a notification, oh yeah, Celtics are up 61-55 at the half, and all of a sudden they lose the freaking game. So now what's happening? What's happening in the third and fourth quarter that's not happening in a normal kind of situation? There are guys that are stepping up, which is really great because obviously Kemba's been out, and we've had a whole slew of guys that have been out. So there've been people that have stepped up. Pritchard being one of them, who's definitely stepped up and has been playing well. So it's really just a matter of I think I would probably give him like a B minus, just because I think they're playing good. They're playing fairly well. But I still think that there are players on the team that should be playing at a certain level that aren't playing at a certain
Sure.
level. So and again, I understand it's the first few weeks, and I understand that they're having some COVID issues, and they may have that more in the next few weeks too. So they do have Kemba that's out. I think that
Well, Kemba's
kind of
back. Kemba's coming back though, which is good.
right, but he also got hit in the Knicks game and went out
But
during the
I think
next
he
game.
was back for this. I thought he was back for the Sixers game.
I don't. No, because it said that I know he was out for the Orlando game because that was before that.
No,
Yeah,
the Knicks game was the Knicks game was his first game back. I know, but I thought he played in the Sixer game. Hold on, I'm gonna do some little in-show research here because I thought he had played against the Sixers last night.
Yeah, it's very possible. I just didn't.
But now I'm.
I didn't watch it. I just saw.
No, he did. Yeah, he played 22 minutes and he scored 19 points. So
that's definitely a good thing.
Yeah. His minute numbers are slowly, he started off at sort of 20 minutes, now up to 22, so he's sort of slowly getting up there.
I did not watch the 76ers game. I just saw
one thing. Can I say the one thing? And I've been yelling this at my TV for the last 3 years now. Can the Celtics please, for the love of God, please stop settling for threes? Please, Marcus Smart, attack the basket. Jaylen Brown, attack the basket. Stop settling for these 3-pointers. It drives me absolutely crazy. You want to talk about sort of weaknesses and sort of these flaws in the team that bubble up on a game by game basis. Stop settling for threes. I'm yelling at the Celtics through you at the moment. Just yeah. I'm maybe to yell at my TV during the games. I know. Yeah, seriously. Watch out, Doug. Just stop settling for threes. Stop, Celtics. If you can hear me right now, stop settling for threes. I'm gonna look right in this camera. Stop settling for threes, Celtics. Drives me absolutely nuts.
Why are they taking threes?
Continue.
Why are they taking threes?
I don't know why. Because they've shown that they can attack the basket and at least draw fouls, if not get points.
I have a thought about why they're doing that.
Okay, sure.
And my thought is that that's what the game is today. That's what the game is. People don't want to see Michael Jordan, going in for the dunk. That they want to see 3-pointers. That's what they're looking at.
But it's not working. It'd be one thing.
I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm just saying that's what
I understand what you're saying. And it would be one thing if they were making them all the time, and we're this great.
They're not going to make
like the Warriors
were. Nobody does that.
No, but they're not even making it to an acceptable level. I
agree.
Daniel Tice, by the way, I understand Smart and Jaylen Brown, but Daniel Tice has no business shooting another 3-pointer in his NBA career. The man is awful from behind the 3-point line. Absolutely awful. I want to literally put a buzzer on his ankle and shock him. Give him literal electrical shocks every time that he goes to shoot a 3-pointer. Is that bad?
Well, I understand where you're coming from. The issue that I see is the NBA has changed. I'm not saying he's good. What I'm saying is that the NBA has changed. They find big men that can shoot 3-pointers. Vucevic, he's a big man. He's 6'10", 6'9", 6'10". He shoots threes.
Okay, and he can make them.
Daniel Tice can't make them. All the power forwards, all the centers, they all shoot threes, and that's what the NBA is all about. When you were a center in the 90s, you weren't shooting 3-pointers. You gave it to Michael Jordan and have him go inside.
Okay, but
I agree with it.
It's one thing if you can make them. He can't make them.
I understand that.
I understand.
I get what you're saying. I'm just saying that that's what the league is all about.
Well, I understand that, but you have to make. But if you want to win ball games, you have to use some common sense. If something's not working, you got to change. You got to change up. You got to do something. You can't just, keep going back to the same well, expecting there to be water if the well's been running dry for 3 years.
Okay, yes, that totally makes sense. I think. So I totally get that. Wow, pretty nice analogy. So I totally get where you're coming from. The issue is that the coach has said if you got an open shot, you got an open three, take the three. He has hit threes before. Am I saying he should do it all the time? No, he shouldn't do all the time. He's not a three-point shooter. He shouldn't be making those shots. I agree with you on that. The issue is that that's where the league is in that. And if the coaches aren't going to change it,
listen to me, and
the coaches aren't going to change it. They're just not going to change it.
They're not going to listen to me. I'm going to be yelling it. I'm going to be yelling it for many, many games and years to come. Believe me.
Hey, there are sometimes when I think Tatum and Brown, Brown shoots threes all the time. And sometimes there was a couple of really bad ones in the Orlando game. I was like, he didn't even freaking hit the rim. Dude,
I agree.
Take the ball and go inside. You are fast. You know what to do.
You're physical.
Go and do this. Why are you shooting a three when you can go and get a foul?
And look, when they've done that, it has worked. It would be one thing if they were getting blocked every time, but it has worked. They have proven that it works when they've done that.
I know.
That's why it drives me so crazy, because you've seen with your own eyes that it works if you do that. And yet you there's just something, you're just so set in your own stupid ways that you cannot get out of this. Like I said, they're never going to listen to me. I can, go off until my head pops off of my neck here, which would make for which would make really disgusting and entertaining television at the same time.
That would be awesome. I'm not sure. I would just keep going.
Yeah,
I would just keep going for hours. Well, Robbie's not here. His head is rolling to the back of the room right now.
Believe me. Listen, I know they're not going to listen to me. I know that I'm sort of just yelling to you and to the ceiling at this point, but it just, like I said, it's the thing. The one thing about the Celtics that just consistently aggravated me over the years.
Yeah, but it's not just the Celtics. Look at the other teams. The other teams doing exactly the same thing. Exactly the same thing. It's not just the Celtics that are doing this. It's every team in the league.
Other teams seem to do better though at it than we do.
I don't think so. There are teams out there that are doing. If you watch the Orlando game and watch it very carefully, they're freaking taking threes too, and they're not making them. They're not even coming close. Yeah. So they're doing the same exact thing when they could be going down low to Vucevic or going down low to somebody else or whoever, and being able to get the foul and get the Celtics in foul trouble. That's what you did a long time ago. You did the regular thing, which is to bring it down to Kendrick Perkins and let him try to get a foul and shoot the ball. It's just not the type of game that they play today. And I don't agree with it because I'm a traditionalist, and we can have a whole show on that. I don't agree with it. I think that they would, the biggest thing to do is to get your big man in foul trouble. Then you have to take them out of the game.
Yeah.
And then you're all set. All set down low. You're good.
Exactly.
They don't do that anymore. They just don't do it anymore. No. I don't agree. No. I agree with you. I think it's a pain in the ass, and it drives me nuts too. So I get it.
I feel like you and I always text each other like during these Celtics games, like, why aren't they going to the basket?
Exactly, because we're traditionalists. We've watched Larry Bird. We've watched.
We know what works. We know what works.
Yes, and it does work. And it's been
even today. It still works.
Yes, it does. It does. I don't know why. I don't know why. I think what happens is that the coach has less influence on the players these days than they used to have. And I think that it's hard to take a whole bunch of egos and put them together and be able to coach them in a way that they're supposed to be coached, even traditionally. So I think it's difficult these days to do that, but it's very, very frustrating, and I totally get it. Yeah. I'd just like them to play one game, even if it's a team you're going to beat. One game where you traditionally do what you're supposed to do. One game, that's right. But so moving on to the, we've already talked about some of the problems with some of the other players other than the stars. So we talked about Tice. I'm still trying to figure out why Shemi Ojale is on the team. I don't have any idea. He's got a big body, but he cannot do anything else. I mean, I know in the past he's helped guard LeBron James, and he's done well on that because of the fact that he's got a big body. Other than that, I don't know what he's doing there. I just don't. There's some guys on the team that I'm trying to figure out why they're there. And it should be interesting. And we're not going to talk about tonight, but it should be interesting. Danny's got this exception. Should be interesting to see whether Danny's got some ideas in his head about changes, who he might get for some, either part of it or all the exception. It'll be interesting. The trade deadline is in March. I think it's the 23rd. I think I'm not sure, but I think it's around that. So we'll have some episodes that'll talk about some of that stuff too. But so we're just gonna move right along.
Moving along, man.
We're gonna move to a team that's actually playing tonight
and
against
losing.
the Philadelphia Flyers.
They're losing.
I'm not watching it, so I
They're
don't
down
know what they're
2-0.
doing.
They're down 2-0. I haven't been watching, but I've been keeping up on my phone. They're down 2-0 in the second period.
So from my personal opinion, it's a little early, but I wanted to get your thoughts on how the Bruins are doing. First several games, and just kind of give me an idea of what you're thinking there, Robbie.
All right, I have two sort of main points here. Number one is I think I agree with you that it's still early. This is only what, the fourth game of the season. And they did get 3 out of a possible first 4 points in the first 2 games. So I think that is definitely something. It's a good place to start if any. But the thing about it is that the statistic that is really, even though it's only, like I said, 3 games and 2 periods into the season, that is really standing out to me is the fact that the Bruins so far this season have scored 0 even strength goals. They have scored 0. The number that comes before 1. 0, exactly. 0 even strength goals. No goals 5-on-5. No goals even 4-on-4 or 3-on-3. Their only goals this season have either come on the power play, shorthanded, or in a shootout. And they were shut out by the Islanders in their game before Philadelphia. That has to change. You have to be able to score goals 5-on-5 or even strength.
Wait, is that how you win the game, if you score goals?
Yeah, I know, it's shocking. Believe me, it's shocking to hear that out loud. But that's the name of the game. Is to score more goals than the other team, and scoring goals 5-on-5 or just even strength in general is a big part of that goal of scoring more goals than the other team. So, like I said, it's still early, like you were saying, Doug. But right now, these last couple of games, especially, being shut out 1-0 by the Islanders, and now being, 2 periods in being shut out by the Flyers is a little bit disconcerting. I will say this: Tuukka Rask has been relatively impressive so far this season. Coming back from having left the bubble, back in the last playoff run. He has come back and he has looked very strong early on this season. So I will say that in the positive for the Bruins. But like you said, Doug, I do agree with you that it's early. It's early, and I just hope that this team can kind of really start to pick things up here over the next coming weeks and games. But like I said, gotta score those 5-on-5 goals. Period. End of story. So
let me ask you about the defense, though. Do you think they're missing Krug and Chara?
A little bit. I definitely has not been as physical, maybe in some aspects, than you would like to see. Again, I know it's early, and again, I'm not saying it's not there. I'm just saying that it does. I don't seem to be seeing as much of it as you saw when those 2 guys were there. They've been getting some guys back healthy on the defensive side, who haven't been healthy in past years. That's for sure. I think it's a mixed bag there. I think that they have the sort of younger pieces waiting in the wings that are now sort of coming up with those 2 being gone. But I definitely think you have those moments where you wish you had sort of those two presents out there. No question about it. So I think it kind of goes. My honest opinion, I think it goes both ways there.
Right. No, absolutely. And of course you have Pasternak who's still out. So
Yeah,
have
yeah,
him. He's
true,
skating. He's skating, but
true.
they're bringing him back slowly because it's the beginning of the season, so they're bringing him back slowly. So I think
Right.
that's going to be. If he comes back, obviously he'll come back healthy, but and that's why they're being easy on bringing him back, and they don't want to bring him back early. So once he comes back and he's at full strength, I think you're going to get some offense. You're going to get a little bit of push. John Moore on the defensive side is also out too. So it's one of those things where he gets some. He's definitely someone who gets very physical down near the net and that presence too. So once you start getting to some of these guys back a little bit, I think things will change a little bit. At least offensively, I think that they're missing
Especially
something
getting
there.
Pasternak back.
Yeah,
boy.
no, definitely. As soon as they get him back, I think it'll be a much better deal offensively. I think there'll be some energy there too. What I've seen is I've seen the energy level skyrocket. I think they're what they're doing positively is number one, they're skating faster. They're a younger crew. There are some older guys, but there's a younger crew, and I think they're skating a lot faster, which is exactly what they wanted. I think that they're obviously the power play is fairly good, not terrific because we haven't seen a ton of it because they've only, they're just the start of the season. So I think it's definitely something that we should kind of watch a little bit.
Hey, again,
watch the games, but
it's
just,
only 3+ games
yeah,
into the season, so I mean, we can kind of
yeah, exactly.
we can give our comments on those games, but I think to your point, I think it is a little bit too early to sort of go either way on this team because, like you said, it's still early. It's still early.
Absolutely, and I'm just telling you what I see
No,
positively
I
on
agree.
it. But yeah, I mean, just
right,
the first few games, and again, you can't tell from the first few games.
right.
I even told my wife, who likes watching the games too. I said, you can't even tell for the first 20 games. So don't even look. At the first 15, 20 games is how you're going to see them, and how you're going to see them play. So you have to really give them a chance to play some games to see what they're all about.
Right.
Which totally makes sense. Yeah, it totally makes sense. We're gonna move over to our next segment because I think we're moving over. I just wanted to talk really briefly about the Red Sox because I know it's a team that's not playing right now, but they're getting.
But hey, I will say this: I am rocking Red Sox shirt tonight. So just
I am too.
Nice. What? Oh, you're 04. What year is this? This is 2018. I got my 2018.
Yeah.
Is this division? The World Series championship? Sure. There you go.
Yeah. I'm rocking the Red Sox tonight a little bit, and the Bruins.
The Bruins, yeah. There you go.
But I just wanted to talk to you because there's some.
I love the fact that we both wore the shirt of the team that's not playing this season for tonight's episode.
Right, exactly right.
What does that say about us?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know.
Hello.
I just wanted to wear something sportsy, so that's what it is.
It's
and you'll always see me wearing something.
It's only like a month until spring training. So
exactly, they're starting to gear up for spring training. So a lot of things, a lot of rumors out there, a lot of things going on. I think
has Benintendi been traded yet? Wasn't that
fair enough? Well, that was my first thought.
Wasn't that a big thing that he was supposed to be traded by the end of like last week? And yeah, he's still here.
He is. And do you think he's going to be traded?
I don't know.
Just a thought. You don't have to tell me who.
I honestly don't. I honestly don't know because I mean, you hear so many rumors that make it seem like it's imminent that he's going to be dealt, right, and then nothing happens. I have no idea. I have no flipping idea.
I think it was Wednesday or Thursday of last week that said
he's going to be traded by Friday.
That's it.
They literally said he's going to be traded by Friday, and he's still here.
I saw that. I was like, wait a minute.
He's still here.
So I don't know.
My honest answer is I don't know. My honest answer is I don't know what's gonna.
No, that's fine.
I'm not trying to evade or anything like that. I just
avoid the question. We're not trying to avoid it. We just really
don't know. I have no idea. Yeah.
The same with JBJ. I have no clue.
I don't have a clue.
No idea.
Yeah.
No idea what he's thinking. And again, with some of the other moves,
They did bring Martin Perez back.
yes.
Which is very interesting. I don't think Martin Perez is going to be the. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right, his first name right, but I don't think he's going to be the answer at pitcher. I got news for you. You know, he's kind of like bottom of the rotation guy.
Is he a bottom feeder?
He's kind of a bottom feeder of the rotation. So I just do not think that that bringing him back solves all your pitching problems. I think you need a little bit more.
Well, and also there's a report out today that I saw that the Red Sox are interested in Kiki Hernandez. But there's tons of reports about, and they're interested in everyone. I think they're interested in everybody.
By the way, the Red Sox, and listen, as you know, you guys know me. The Red Sox have been my number one since I was 6 years old.
Yeah,
the Red Sox right now are the team that leads the league in most number of players interested in, but also least number of players actually acquiring. Like, it is unbelievable how many players that you hear like, oh, the Red Sox are interested in so-and-so. Oh, the Red Sox are interested in so-and-so. Guess what? Nothing happens. Nothing has happened. I'm convinced nothing is going to happen. And the AL East is getting better. Oh, by the way, the Bruins did score a goal. So less than a minute into the third period. So they're down 2-1. And they scored wait, hold on a second. Hold on. A 5-on-5 goal. They scored a 5-on-5
They were listening to
goal.
you, Robbie. They were listening to you. They thought about it. They listened to the Sports Blitz. You know,
while they're playing the game,
in between periods, and while they're playing the game, they have it on in the little thing. There's no fans. Who cares? So I just think it's interesting. There's a lot of.
Can we just point out also how the AL East has gotten better over these last couple of weeks with George Springer now going to the Blue Jays? And
what did you think of that contract? Is he worth $150 million that the Toronto Blue Jays never?
I think so. I think he's one of the best outfielders in baseball right now.
I know that, but I'm just saying. I mean, Toronto had to sell.
Hold everything. The Bruins just tied the game.
They are truly listening to you right now, Robbie.
They are literally listening to us in real time.
It's tied. Woohoo!
I think.
I hear my wife in the other room. She's going, woohoo.
Okay, good. Well, thanks. Okay, I get no, because I have a group text about the game going, and that's how I'm getting part of my information while we're taking, because obviously I don't have it on the TV here.
That's good, because you'd be very distracted.
Right, exactly. You know me.
I do.
But yeah, hey, listen, I think Springer was going to make a lot of money. Obviously the contracts at MLB these days are at an egregious level, for sure.
No, I know that, but the Blue Jays had to sell not just a bag of balls. They had to sell I think they're going to make it I think they're going to make it the Springer venue. It's going to be in Toronto.
Name it after him, yeah.
Going to name it after him, because they just don't throw out this kind of money. I understand why they did, but they typically don't. This is the biggest contract that they've ever had in a really, really long time. So it totally makes sense. It's kind of weirded out, but that's exactly what I'm thinking is that, and there's so many moves that the Red Sox are out there, thinking about.
They're interested in everybody, but they actually got to pull the trigger on somebody. They actually got to pull the trigger. They could be interested in you and I coming on the team. They could be interested in whoever, but they don't.
They did call me.
Yeah, they did text me, just now. They but I mean, if they're not going to make a move, all the rumor mill and all that stuff is just for naught. It's just it's until they put pen to paper and actually sign some guys. That's when I'll start really paying attention.
Right.
But right now, if you're just gonna tell me you're interested and not actually do anything, there's no bother in me getting worked up either way about it.
Yeah, I totally get it. So we're just going to have to see what happens. I think a lot of things are going to happen before spring training, and maybe they'll happen during spring training too, and maybe a little bit after. But I think that we need to revisit this down the road
Oh
because
yeah.
there's so many
Oh yeah.
so many rumors out there. We can't even cover all of them and like
We have a whole show
one
just based on the
one
rumors.
show. Have a whole show just based on rumors, which we should probably do. But no, definitely it's just kind of strange. But Robbie, I hear in our next segment that you wanted to play a little bit of a game.
Yeah,
So
a little bit of a game, a little bit of a this is what people refer to as a throwback Thursday. So wanted to play a little bit of a trip down memory lane type game, and I wanted to sort of take us back to pre-COVID sporting events when we were actually allowed to attend sporting events. And I wanted us to try to sort of remember and reminisce about a couple of things. First of all, for all four of the sort of big four pro sports, so NHL, NBA, MLB, and NFL, I wanted to try to remember when the last game was that we went to for each of those four leagues, but also taking a look at locally the three sort of major Boston sports venues when we last were there, just in general. And it could be for that one, it could be for a pro sporting event, college, non-sporting event, does not matter. But for Fenway Park, TD Garden in July, I'm kind of curious when our last visit to each of those three venues was. So I guess we'll maybe sort of start there, Doug, and we'll start obviously at a place that you and I both know and love, and that is Fenway Park. Can you tell me when was the last time that you, Doug, again, got to dip into the memory bank here, buddy? When was the last time that you visited the good old America's beloved ballpark, Fenway?
It's been a long time. It's been a long time seeing that long time friend. I'm gonna say I went with my friend Brian, who I've known since kindergarten. He came in one time, probably in the early, I would say it's probably the early 2000s. And we went to a game, and significantly, there was something that significantly happened in that game. Interestingly enough, I can't remember who was playing. I'm sorry, I can't remember.
Okay.
Obviously, it was a Red Sox versus somebody else, but I can't remember who it was. I think it
Oh,
might be
really?
the
Wow.
Royals. No, the Royals kind of go in my mind, but I'm not sure if it was the Royals. Anyway, there was a really bad thunderstorm, and we actually had to go to get out of our seats and go underneath because it was lightning and there was thunder, and it was really, really bad storm that came through.
Right.
And everybody had to go out of their seats and go underneath, where the concessions were. And we were sitting there for a significant amount of time. It had to be close to 40 minutes, I think, until this storm kind of passed over. It kind of hung out for a little while, obviously. And then it took us a while to get back into our seats, everybody to get back in the seats. And then it took a while for them to start the game back up again. But that's what I remember. And I believe I think that was mid 2000s. I think it could have been 2005, but I'm not sure.
And I'm guessing, was that your last MLB game that you've been to, or? Okay, so that's kind of answering both questions in the same dialect there. Yeah, same for me. Oh, actually, no, I'm wrong. Sorry. The last game I went to at Fenway was July of 2019. I went to Red Sox Yankees with my buddy Kyle, who obviously, if you've watched this show, you guys know Kyle. He's been on several episodes. Great guest, one of our favorite guests. Not that we have.
And by the way, shameless plug, please watch On the Couch Talking Sports with Kyle and Robbie. Awesome. It is great. They have some great information, and they talk about all kinds of stuff. So it's really cool.
But yeah, that was the last Red Sox game and trip to Fenway that I made, was to see Red Sox, Yankees, back in July of 2019. The last MLB game that I went to was August of 2019. I went down to Washington D.C. with my sister, who was
Oh,
living
right.
there
Yeah.
at the time, and I went to
Nationals.
I went to a Nationals Brewers game, which was exciting. That game actually, we left in the ninth inning because it looked like the Nationals were going to win. Brewers ended up coming back, and long story short, the game ended up going like 14 innings to like 2 o'clock in the morning. But we, like I said, we had well left by then. But yeah, so that was my last trip to Fenway and my last MLB game sort of combined into one there. Again, for some of these, our last trip to said venue is going to be, sort of the last for the last time we were also at that particular sports event. By the way, Flyers just retook the lead 3-2. Um, that's what we do here.
Channeling, Robbie.
We,
Channel.
we give scores up. We give score updates here.
We do.
So the next one we're gonna do is Gillette Stadium, good old Gillette Stadium. And Doug, I'm kind of curious to hear your answer to this question because I'm assuming let me just ask you the question. What was the last time that you went to Gillette Stadium?
Last time I went to Gillette Stadium was just a few years ago. And it was actually for not a sporting event. It was actually for a concert.
Okay.
It was for an Ed Sheeran concert. And yeah, I went with Alana, my daughter. I went with my daughter to go, and it was very, very cool. It was nice being there. She had never been there. So it was the first time that she was able to go. And it was really, really cool being there. Very cool being there. So yeah, that was the last time. That was the last time I can. Let's see.
Well, I was going to ask you on top of that. When was the last Patriots game, or should I say NFL game? Because it's probably the same sentence. When was the last Patriots game that you went to?
Last Patriots game.
Has Doug been to a Patriots game in person?
I have been to a Patriots game in person. I went with my father. My first Patriots game I remember. I don't remember too much about. I was probably about 9 or 10 years old, and I went with my father to the Schaefer Stadium.
Okay.
It was it was a long time ago, and it snowed. I remember it snowing. It snowed like in the third quarter. It was fine the first couple quarters, and then it snowed like a blizzard. We couldn't even see the game. My dad was so angry. He was so angry because he was like, I can't even see the game. We should have watched it at home. So that was not I don't think that was the last time I went. But that's the one that I kind of remember.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, that's what it is there.
Well, like I said, my last trip to Gillette was also my last Patriots game as well, and that was actually much more recently. December of 2019, early December of 2019, I went to the Pats Chiefs game at Gillette, the infamous game where N'Keal Harry was not out of bounds and should have been awarded a touchdown, but was not. And the Pats ended up losing that game. I think it was 27-23 or something like that. It was 2013. It was a one score game, I remember, and they needed a touchdown at the end but couldn't quite punch it in. But still always an enjoyable time to go to Gillette, because I don't get to go all that often. Yeah, that was sort of my last sort of fulfilling all those categories for football wise was that Pats Chiefs game in December of 2019, which was, like I said, a lot of fun regardless of the outcome.
Yeah, the Ed Sheeran concert was September of 2018.
Okay.
So that's the last time I was in Gillette.
Cool. And then the last venue is TD Garden. We can kind of sort of bring in Celtics, Bruins, and non-sports to all, sort of the same answer here. But I guess maybe for the first part of you want to start talking about the last time you were at the TD Garden.
So the last time I was at the TD Garden, I think was I've gone to a recent within the last few years. I'll just say, in 2009, 2010, I actually took my daughter to her first Celtics game.
Oh, cool!
Yes, she loved it. She thought it was really cool. And it was 2009 or 2010. I'm not sure exactly, or around that time. And it was great. It was really great. It was awesome. I did take my dad. I think it was in the early 90s, maybe 92, 93. I took him to a wrestling match at Boston Garden. Okay. The old Boston Garden.
That's right. Was that, I think you might have referenced that in our episode with Mike Riley.
I did. Yeah. So that's kind of a not sport, but it's not, not a Red Sox. I mean, it's not a Celtics or Bruins game. And we actually used to go. I think the last time I went to a Bruins game was several years ago. We typically had gone to a game the day after Thanksgiving or the day before Thanksgiving, the day after, I think.
Yeah, they usually have a Black Friday home game. Usually,
we used to go to that game.
So
yeah, my brother-in-law down in Florida, we used to go to that game with my mother-in-law.
Nice.
So it's been a long time. It's been at least 7 years.
Yeah, so
8 years or so. Yeah,
it's interesting. So for TD Garden, the last time I was at an event there was in 2020, early in 2020. The first week of February, I went to the Beanpot semifinals. Everybody, if you follow college hockey or hockey around here, the Beanpot tournament, big college hockey tournament between BC, BU, Northeastern, and Harvard, the first 2 Mondays in February. And Kyle and I, again, going with my buddy Kyle, we went to the semifinals of the 2020 Beanpot tournament. We saw the end of Northeastern beating Harvard, and then saw BC, unfortunately for us, lose to BU in the second semifinal. Hot pot of beans, exactly. Yes. Well played. The last Bruins and Celtics games that I've been to were actually both in. It's funny because for 3 out of the 4 sports, first of all, for 4 out of the 4 sports, the last game I went to was in 2019, and for 3 of those 4 was in December of 2019 because, like I said, I went to the Pats Chiefs, and then like a week earlier, literally the Sunday after Thanksgiving 2019, I went to the Bruins versus Canadiens with Kyle, a game won by the Bruins, which was awesome, and then the last Celtics game I went to was right before Christmas of 2019. I went with my sister. We saw the Celtics play the Charlotte Hornets, a game won by the Celtics, and so that was actually the last professional sporting event that I have been to. Was, like I said, this sort of that late December 2019 Celtics Hornets game. So that sort of wraps up all those aspects in one there. So like I said, definitely nice sort of taking a little trip down memory lane there. And thanks for playing along, Doug.
Oh, absolutely. I actually did a little research as you were talking about your games to find out some dates, because I couldn't quite remember exactly when a couple of them were. But yeah, that was really fun to go down. We try to play these games every once in a while during our show, and we'll have more games, I'm sure, down the road. I'm sure. So we're right at our final segment, which is typically our final thoughts for the evening. So Robbie, what is your final thought for the evening on this episode number 69?
69. Yes, my final thought is I actually want to give a shout out to the Cleveland Browns. I know that's going to sound weird coming out of my mouth, but
That is weird.
I do want to applaud them on what was a really good playoff run for the first time being back in the playoffs in 18 years. Obviously, you know, definitely a lot of happy Cleveland Browns fans to see the Browns finally get back into the playoffs and actually win a playoff game going into Pittsburgh in the wild card round and upsetting the Steelers. And obviously they kept it pretty close against the Chiefs. Are obviously Mahomes. Yes, I am a closet Cleveland Browns fan. Sure. But they definitely kept it close against the Chiefs. In that divisional round game, obviously Patrick Mahomes going out, probably had a lot to do with that. But I just, like I said, just wanted to sort of give him a little round of applause there for sort of making the run that they did. And I think there could be very bright days ahead for that Cleveland Brown franchise, especially with Baker Mayfield continuing to be under center. So that's sort of my final thought this evening. Sort of a shorter final thought tonight for me. Doug, what about you? What is your final thought for episode number 69?
I have actually two final thoughts.
Oh, okay.
My first final thought is I want to send a congratulations out to Theo Epstein. Theo Epstein was a Brookline guy.
Yeah.
And went to my high school, went to Brookline High School, and was obviously the general manager for the Red Sox for a little while. Went to the Cubs and
Brookline Warriors.
Brookline Warriors. That's right. I'm just like, what are you talking about? You're talking about what? Talking about the what? Golden State? What are we talking about?
I apparently
Warriors. That's right. That's
I know Doug's high school mascot.
My high school team, so I don't even know. Don't even know. Went to many football games and don't remember. Didn't remember that the Warriors. Anyway, he actually landed a job with the MLB home office.
Ooh. I did not hear about this. Very cool.
Yes, he did. He's going to be doing player safety and doing some, kind of like the head guy when it comes to analytics and stuff like that. So he's going to be helping out. And congratulations to him, because I know he was looking to find something else, whether he wanted to be a GM or help out more. But now he's going to be in New York and going to be in the MLB home offices. It's cool. Going to be an MLB final thought here. I have a final thought is that one of these days, Curt Schilling will shut his mouth, because when he shuts his mouth, he's actually maybe going to get enough votes for the Hall of Fame. So the reason I say this is because there's a report out that there were some tweets from Curt Schilling about the stuff that was happening at the Capitol. And he tweeted out that he was in favor of, he was on Trump's side, and he was in favor of what was going on. And there were reporters that were calling in that have a Hall of Fame vote that were actually calling in to say that they want to change their vote. This guy doesn't know when to just shut up. Nope. If he wants to be in the Hall of Fame, he needs to be quiet, because part of that whole Hall of Fame thing, and they brought it up, that they're actually, the voters are rethinking their ballots. There's a guy, one of the guys, his last name is Spiegel. I guess he's got a vote. He said he noted that there are integrity, sportsmanship, and character clauses on the guidelines for the Hall of Fame voting.
Right.
There you go, right there. every time we think that he's gonna get it, just opens his mouth, he says something, he tweets something, he emails something. It's just something that he does. He just needs to be quiet. If he wants to run for office, run for office. Then you can talk all you want, but not when you're trying to get into the Hall of Fame. It's just not going to work. Do we love him here in Boston? Yes, of course we do. The tough guy, the bloody sock guy, the bloody sock game. Of course we do. Stop. And you may get into the Hall of Fame. You may not, but at least you know that you shut up enough to at least be considered.
Right.
And those are my two final thoughts, Robbie. It's just one of those things where it's just really, really like, oh, I saw this report and I was like, oh, here we go again.
I'll say this, and by the way, the Bruins just tied the game on the power play. Nick Ritchie scored. I'll say this to your point, Doug, because I completely agree with you. Yeah. And listen, I love Curt Schilling as a player, no question. As a human being, I'm not going to get too much into that because I don't like to get too political on the show, but definitely I agree with you 100%. The guy just, like you said, he simply needs to shut up. Period. End of story.
Exactly. Especially if those clauses are in the Hall of Fame. They're in the Hall of Fame. That's why guys don't get in, because of some of those clauses.
Right.
So it totally makes sense. So just be quiet, and you may, oh my God, you may get into the Hall of Fame. You may not. But still, it's just one of those things where he's just hurting himself. He's just hurting himself.
I agree.
Maybe he doesn't want to go. Who knows? And I don't want to talk about the politics either, but that's just what it is.
Right.
But right now, we are at the end of episode number 69.
Oh, yeah.
We're episode 70. We got some great things coming your way, folks. Oh. You are going to love the stuff we got coming down the road. We've got some Rivers episodes. I'm working on those. I'm working on getting some more guests on. Robbie's doing the same thing. I've got a guy that I work with, and we're going to be talking about something a little different in sports that Robbie and I haven't talked about, which is sports betting. You got to listen to this one because this is going to be really good. This is a buddy of mine that does a lot of this sports betting, and he knows a lot about it. He's going to tell us how he does it, why he does it, and give us all kinds of terms and all kinds of things and how to do things. And it's going to be great. So look for those episodes coming up. But very excited about some upcoming episodes, Robbie. They're going to be great.
Yeah, very much looking forward to. Can't wait. Cannot wait.
Absolutely. So again, we are on so much social media right now. We are on YouTube. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook.
I was hoping
you were going
to I was hoping you were going to continue on with that sentence beyond "we're on so much" right now, because
you think I was going to just say nothing?
Yeah, just if you pause right there.
We're on social media. Find us.
No, we're on that. No, just if you would pause at that point, it could have been interpreted a lot of different ways.
My pause was I was taking a breath. Thank you very much. But other than that, that's fine. So we are on. Oh my God, Robbie. So we're on YouTube. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. We are on SoundCloud. We are. What else are we on? What else are we on? Did I forget anything? That's it. Are you sure?
You're good. Yeah.
So if you
sometimes I think you're on something else, but
please watch High on Life, dude. High on Life. So when you go to YouTube, please click the subscribe and hit the bell so you can get when we put the next episode up. This episode will be going up really soon in the next 24 hours or so. So thank you so much for just listening to us on the Sports Blitz. I paused again. So for Robbie, he's over there. That dude right there. For Robbie, and I'm Doug. We'll see you next time on the Sports Blitz.
Bye, everybody.